that was a fun one. This week, that was one of our tunes. Of course, this is Friday, March 30th, and a song that I have been decided to put something kind of cool together for. That was, of course, Donovan's Mellow Yellow, that actually just came out today for our target members. And really simple song. Matter of fact, you probably just got it all figured out from seeing that. It's a 3-chord song, kind of matching a theme that we've been having, that's been floating around on the site for a while. But it's a great song to start hearing chord progressions that only use chords 1, 4, and 5. So we did this one as in our work it out method to work on the ear training. Hopefully people are not looking at the page before they take a look at the first couple of videos in the lesson. So that was, oh, and then there's a chord solo to it as well, sort of like that. It's a pretty easy one to pick out the melody to. So haven't seen any reactions yet to it, but that's because it's like just brand new as I'm shooting this morning. So we also had in the target program a little more complicated slack key tune, Radio Hula. So if you have not, if you've been messing around with our stuff in Open G, be sure to take a look at that one. It's got some little trickier fingerings in it than Kimo's slack key and Ke Aloha and a few of the others. So I hope you're enjoying that. And speaking of alternate tunings, I've been messing around with a lot of alternate tunings, and I'm not going to go into any of them right now, but next week, hopefully, something in a tuning that we have maybe never done. Been messing around with some John Fahey stuff, and we've got some of those kind of on the horizon, I think. I'm not going to promise, because you never know. I might get sidetracked with a request that comes up one day, and that's the day I decide to do a lesson on that song. There actually is one of those around the corner too. So keep those requests coming, because every once in a while I'm thinking about doing a song. I think, oh, it's too obscure. Nobody's gonna know it. Nobody's gonna want to. Anyway, so a song I've been thinking about I've been on the fence for a while. Recently popped up. I think there's only one vote for it so far. So I will. So keep your eyes open for that. Should be a nice little surprise. Also had a good time. Our third target song that we put out this week was Your Song by Elton John, which is a song I had played many years ago. I used to sing it, and I talked about playing it in the key of C, which is a 3/2 steps lower than where he did it, but it works a great key for the chords to really match what Elton did on the piano. So a lot of what we did in that lesson was match the inversions that he plays on the piano. Instead of just playing a C chord and an F major 7 and a G and an E minor and that kind of stuff, we have C, F major 7 with C in the bass to G with B in the bass. And then nice little descending thing. Great tune. Makes a good instrumental too. Well, anyway, I can't get too caught up in that right now. It was fun though. It's fun playing the guitar sometimes, and appreciate your indulgence with me wandering off to do stuff like that. The other cool things that happened this week, an old student of mine, some of you who've been around for a long time might remember from the early days, he was in high school at the time. Doug is now getting to be a very responsible young adult, and he's been hanging around here lately, and came back in and said he wanted to brush up on his theory. So this was a fly on the wall lesson that I think had a lot of cool stuff in it, summed up in a relatively short time. So if it's a good little overview of the things you should stay on top of: scales, triads, and bar chord shapes. All that kind of condensed into one little theory lesson with Doug. And the other one was Kevin looking at his second week on The Weary Kind. Now, and this brought up an interesting thing on the forum that I guess I'll address here since I didn't get a chance to answer it in the forum. And that is, it has an unusual picking pattern where the bass notes are played on the off beats. Beats 2 and 4, if you want to think of it like that, or even the ands, because it's going so quickly. And the question came up as to whether, well, can't we just make that the first beat of the measure? And the answer to that is no, because really it's where the accents are. The first beats of measures have stronger accents on them than the second beats. And if you were playing this, what I would consider upside down, it would not feel right. So I still might get around to doing some tablature for this one, because again the response and requests for it have been numerous, which is really cool. So glad Kevin always brings up interesting tunes. He's kind of the one that introduced me to the Old Crow Medicine Show and Zach Brown, and I know people enjoyed those lessons as we did them. So had a couple of student reviews. It's funny, Doc Watson sort of crossed my path a couple of times this week. As I mentioned, I've been listening to a lot of John Fahey stuff and trying to think of good Fahey tunes to do lessons on. Might have to do this one, this is so cool. And this is actually the first song of his I ever heard on the radio as a young pup. So I will get to some of those. But the reason I bring up Fahey is one of the first times I ever saw him, he was actually sharing the bill with Doc Watson in a concert here at Stanford. So that was kind of, brought back a lot of memories. More on Fahey next week. I'm kind of getting off on the tangents again. So as it was, we had one of our longtime members working on Doc's guitar, Dermot, and had a couple of suggestions in there. Needs a little bit steadier time. And another great video, a great upload this week was Susie playing Eva Cassidy's arrangement of Kathy's song, and that's something that is not all that different than Paul Simon's, but it's just a nice way to play it, and she did a great job. So I hope everybody's had a chance to check that out. So that was our student reviews this week, and I think I had one more thing I was going to tell you about, but I can't remember right now. Maybe we'll play a little Name That Tune. Okay, that's enough on that one. Too easy, probably, for those of us that are really old. So, let's see. I did appreciate the also the comment that of Elton John, maybe that we would like to see a few more Elton John songs, even though we don't tend to think of them as as guitar songs. We think of them as piano songs, but a lot of his songs do make great guitar songs, and so I will certainly consider working on a couple of others. So glad everybody liked your song there. I think I'm going to sign off with that. Let me look around the cabin here and see if there's anything else that I meant to tell you. I don't think so. Oh, I do have to show you this Al Stewart poster sometime, but that'll have to be on next things. It's kind of his version of Sgt. Pepper, of all the people that were subjects of his songs. So hopefully I've got some Al Stewart fans out there. And I guess the last thing is we really appreciate everybody taking the time to watch these news things and watch everything else we do here. So it would help us out a lot that if you like these, hit the like button right here, and or the vote for it button, and all that kind of cool stuff helps keep the wheels in motion here at Totally Guitars. So I think that's it. I'm going to sign off with a little more. Here's something I do typically when I'm playing Fahey tunes. I play a lot of them with a thumb pick because it helps me. I can mute the bass better. Here's a neat one too. Who's got this? Next week maybe I'll show you my beat-up copy of the John Fahey book, but I think there's Fahey in our future. So keep us posted, and don't forget, like us and vote for us once in a while. See you next week.